Alexandra is a convert to Catholicism. She's a food writer, restaurant critic, and cookbook author who is passionate about every aspect of her faith world and the food world. And she's interviewed chefs, supported local farmers, and enjoys making the connection between faith and food. And we're really excited to have you here today, Alexandra. We love your books, Cooking with the Saints, and your new one, Catholics in the Kitchen. And then I was just realizing that you've also written Around the World with the Von Trapp family, which is another favorite book around here. So we're very excited to have you, and we'd like to hand it over to you. And I should mention too that Rita is featured in Catholics in the Kitchen, and she's also submitted a recipe, I believe.
I'm also in the other one too.
For yes, Cooking with the Saints.
Cooking with the Saints.
Yes. So I'd like to just hand it over to the two of you.
Well, Sandy and I met when I found out that she was a huge foodie and was very involved at St. Veronica. And I'm very good friends with Father Hathaway. And so he said to me, I have someone you need to meet because I know you're going to get along very well with her because she's a huge foodie and just like you are. And so that's how I met Sandy. I had her over for dinner, and we, that's all it took. And I was really nervous. I remember that night I didn't know what to serve her. I said, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to make for Sandy?" But I didn't have to worry because she loves just about anything. And so we ended up. That's how we started with our relationship. And we helped Father Hathaway. Well, Sandy she's written
36 cookbooks.
36 cookbooks. Yeah.
So crazy.
So it's for me, it's just a real honor to be her friend and confidant and, and helping in the kitchen. I'm always cooking, doing something with Sandy. And
last time we took Father Hathaway out for lunch or dinner somewhere.
Yeah, we did. We're always entertaining priests. That's kind of what we do. We went to the Holy Land with Father Hathaway, and that was quite incredible too.
Yes.
And Father Hathaway also is a huge foodie, so I understand how he's very close to Sandy. So I've also been to the Holy Land 4 times, and enjoyed every second of it. I'm sure all of you have been. Have you been to the Holy Land? Not yet? Well, whatever you see on television it's just like you're there. It's really wonderful that you can appreciate the Holy Land just by watching television. But anyway, I don't know. I'm Latina. My father is Spanish, so I consider myself Mex with a Spanish touch. And I enjoy cooking most anything. I do love, I've been to many different cooking schools in my lifetime, and I love Italian food, cooking Italian. I love Mexican food, and this particular recipe that I have is quite easy. It's really nice. I hope that you enjoy it if you try it. So Mexican is kind of one of my favorites, and I don't know. I was just so thrilled to be able to contribute to Sandy's book.
Well, because you're a wonderful cook.
Well,
and a very devout Catholic.
Oh, and my devout, yes, I'm a very big Catholic, as they know here at the store. Anytime that I can get here, I'm always overwhelmed with all that they have here. And, our faith is just so incredible. And I feel like cooking for me is just another extension of my faith. I don't know, I have this thing about, I entertain quite a bit. And I feel that that's my way of showing what I can do for other people. I'm very much into helping or doing whatever it is that I need to do. And that usually involves food, cooking with a lot of love. And the book, I mentioned that I started my faith in Medjugorje. I didn't want to go, but I had heard all these things about Medjugorje. One of my friends, her rosary turned to gold, and a lot of people see a lot of things, you know, they'll the sun, the spinning of the sun and whatever, and I was just curious to go and see, really, does that really happen there? And the first day that I got there, I really didn't like it, because I said, oh my gosh, there are all these, you know, vendors with all these rosaries and all these Catholic artifacts, and it just kind of put me off. I said, the more that I started opening my eyes to what was there, I just started feeling like maybe I shouldn't have come. So that night, I decided I was leaving the next day to go back home, that this was not my thing. And I said, well, what if somebody appears to me? Oh my gosh, what am I going to do then? Please, Lord, please, I don't want to, no, I don't think I want to be here. It's too much for me. So I had gone to Mass, to a rosary before I had gone back to my room. And there were so many people that were praying the rosary in so many different languages. And what I noticed most of all is that the people were so plain. They had no makeup, and you know, they weren't dressed up. And I like to dress up. I love makeup. And so when I got there, I just felt like I was just so not myself. But I ended up staying. The next morning, I woke up and I said, how could I have said I'm gonna leave? No, I'm gonna stay. So the first thing that I did is I went to the stations of the cross the mountain there. And all of a sudden, each time that I was praying that I'd go to the different stations, I started feeling, there was this feeling that I got that was very different than I can ever remember. And it was just kind of a cleansing, I think, because I just started feeling very sorrowful, very sorrowful. I won't cry, but it was very emotional to me. So anyway, that's how I started my journey there. I felt like, you know, I was there for a purpose, and that's what it was, to kind of release myself of, you know, not that I did anything really wrong, but I mean, it was just, I just felt so different. Anyway, I went up to the little area where they have confessions, and I went to confession. I came back to my seat. I'll never forget this experience. And then I noticed people going up. It was almost like they were looking up at the sky, and then, yes, it was sunny. And I said, I'm gonna go over there. And I was by myself. And then I noticed the sun was spinning. The sun was spinning. And there were people just sitting back at that area of the confessional area, and there were a lot of people that didn't even go up to go look at what other people were seeing. And that's what happened to me. I saw the spinning of the sun, and you don't forget things like this, because all of a sudden I see the cross that appeared in the sun, and then I saw the Holy Spirit. All of a sudden, the Holy Spirit, the dove was flying in the sun. And then I saw the Holy Eucharist that appeared in the sun. And it was unbelievable. The whole, by that time, the sorrowfulness, and then the ending with being able to experience this, it just changed my life. It started off there. I mean, I was 40 years old and always went to Mass, but I never really was devout. And that changed my life. It really changed my life. And I wanted to go home immediately and start praying the rosary with my family. And so it's kind of been, my husband, of course your husbands, they follow in your path and whatever you want to do. And he was fine with the changes that he was seeing since I had been to Medjugorje. And so that's kind of been my journey, praying for my children. They're amazing young people. Now they're married. I have one son that's not married. He's single, and he doesn't plan to get married. But my other two, they're wonderful people. I love them dearly, and I will pray for them until it's over. But my husband is with me, and he's wonderful. He accepts anything that I want to do with him. But that's kind of what happened. And everybody has their own journey, their own story. We all have that. But one thing that we all have is we're all together in this journey, and it's beautiful. We know that this is temporary.
So I understand you're a convert to the faith.
Yes.
When did that turning point happen for you?
I went on a Baha'i, if you don't know what a Baha'i is, I went to the Holy Land as a Baha'i, and going down to the border, there's a sign that pointing up to Nazareth. I grew up as an Episcopalian, so I wasn't nothing. And I saw the sign that said pointing to Nazareth, and it just like, I've got to go back to church. I'd wandered away from Christianity. And when I came back from that trip, I was at with a physical therapist who said she was going on a trip to the Holy Land. And I said, well, as a Catholic, and I said, well, tell me about Catholicism. And the word she said changed my life. She said, it's the one true faith God gave mankind. And from that day on, I started going to RCIA classes and talking to Father Hathaway and becoming Catholic. That's how it happened.
That's awesome.
It was a miracle, really, that she said those words.
Yeah.
The one true faith God gave mankind. I will never forget that day. Late October afternoon with the sunshine. Oh, it was amazing. Anyway.
How nice, how beautiful. We all pray for that for all our loved ones. So.
Yes, and unfortunately, my children who were raised Episcopalian have all wandered away from the church too.
It's happening more and more.
I don't understand why that happens. I really don't.
The enemy is attacking everyone, and if he can get through to our family, that's where he really works, to keep them away from knowing him. And he's doing a good job. It's really hard, but there are so many, you just pray that your children, or whatever age they are, that they will meet that one person, that one faithful person that will really make a change and make them think about their faith and their lives. And that's a huge prayer, for all of us. But my daughter always wears, my only daughter, she always wears the Blessed Mother and the cross. And I feel that, regardless where she is, I know that she's been taken care of. And, our Blessed Mother will work on her in her time, in God's timing. Sandy, how do you, I
don't know how to bring my children back. I really don't.
You just have to pray for them. I was watching EWTN this morning, and there was a segment about the Hollow app, right?
Yes, it's very popular.
That it's very popular. But it's amazing to hear the two young men that started Hollow and how they weren't, they didn't go to church. They did, they were just very nonchalant about their faith. And they each had their own journey of how they came to believe again. And they ended up, they were very good friends, and they started this app, and they're just all over the place with their faith.
Yes.
And it's beautiful to see these young people,
Yeah. It's a very complete app. It has so much great content.
They even have for children. I didn't know they have for children. Little ones and older, he asked, well, what ages, go on this app? And he said, Well, they were in their 30s, these two young men that started it. But he says we have people of all ages, all ages, in their upper 70s, 80s. I mean, it's just amazing. And what's nice about what he said about the app is that they have like people like Mark Wahlberg, who he's on it, he'll pray the rosary. They have sports people that are on too that pray. So it kind of brings in, the youth when they hear about it. I don't know, we just need to get that word out. But praying, they also said fasting is huge too for your children to come back to the church. And I haven't done that, but I feel like, yes, it makes a lot of sense, to fast for your children, novenas, whatever. We just have to keep going. That's our mission in our life, to bring our children to heaven. We can't do it on our own, but we can pray for them, right?
Absolutely.
Does anyone watch The Chosen? Do you know that almost a billion people worldwide are involved with it?
Wow.
They have reached out that far,
Wow.
which is miraculous.
Right.
Absolutely.
Did any of you hear the keynote speaker for the march?
Much for that.
Did you hear it?
Yeah,
Was that incredible?
He's a
Jonathan Rumi.
He's in
Yes.
The Chosen.
He's Catholic, yeah.
Yes, he was all over. He was amazing. Did you hear it?
I didn't hear
Wasn't
I
it
just-
powerful? So beautiful what he said, and everybody was just so excited about it.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
It is so inspiring when you have somebody that young and that popular, that nice looking.
Yes.
and he can stand up for his faith boldly and share it. It's just gives
I liked
hope.
when he said, "I'm the movie Jesus."
Right.
TV Jesus.
That was the
TV,
TV
yeah.
Jesus. Yes,
Yeah.
he was great. He was wonderful.
He is wonderful.
He was wonderful. Gosh. So,
That's right.
you know,
I'm curious about the book. How did you get the inspiration to write Catholics in the Kitchen, Cooking with the Saints? Do you want to share anything about that process?
Cooking with the Saints. I had a cooking class at St. Veronica for 7 years called Cooking with Our Saints. And I had, because of Washington, D.C., there are people from every country here. So I invited people in to teach the class, even from Cambodia and all over. And it was Father Hathaway said, yes, go ahead. And he approved the idea of a cookbook. And so that's how the cookbook started. And then there's so many people I've interviewed for National Catholic Register. They're all in this book. My editor there gave me permission to use them. And it's wonderful to find so many people who are Catholic and
with
who
their
love to cook.
stories.
Their stories, yes, their stories of their faith and how they got to be involved with food. It's just, it's very inspiring.
Yes. So just like Rita shared her,
I just have a question. What is it about food that is so closely connected to the faith? Why do those two seem to go together so closely?
Because if God hadn't given us the food, we would not be alive. And if he hasn't given us the faith, what would we be then? We'd be without any spirit at all. Food keeps us alive.
And we have the ultimate food. We have Christ himself who gives us himself as food.
Absolutely, yes.
Food and drink.
Absolutely, very
So
well,
he
yes.
feeds our souls, and we have to feed our bodies. I mean, that's the way we're made. But for him to be so close to us through the Eucharist is kind of the ultimate food.
Oh, it is. It is.
So, food
How
and
do you
faith and
find the
faith.
people that featured in your book?
Because every one of them I'd interviewed for their register.
But how did you know to find them?
Because I did a lot of research online, trying to find Catholics from all over. And I was very fortunate because they all agreed to be interviewed. And then my editor said I could use them in a book, which is what I did. So,
She's such a hard worker too. She has a passion for writing.
writing, food and faith, that's my passion. Food and
it's
faith.
the best.
But anyway, Sandy, and did you find anybody more interesting than the other? I mean, what?
More interesting than Rita.
No, nobody works. Besides, Rita's been a good friend for a long time.
Yeah.
And we've eaten out together and eaten together many, many times. So I know how good a cook she is.
So it's wonderful to be with Sandy and to be part of her book and to tell my story. Have you read it? Have you read it, the book yet?
Not yet.
It's really wonderful. Like I said, it's so wonderful to be around godly, faith-filled people and to see the journeys of the people here also that love to cook. I love to read their stories, you
Whose
know.
story made an impression on you?
The stories, yes.
But
the-
which one?
Oh,
Is there
which
one
one?
that stands out?
All of them. I think I think you're gonna enjoy all of them. I mean, I just kind of skipped around and was reading different people. Father, who is the cook, the chef?
Now in the crop.
He's very good. The Filipino
Father
chef, he's very
Leo?
good.
Is it Lee?
Leo, Father Leo.
Father Leo, yes.
He's great. He's really great. And then the farmer is really good. Who was the
Oh
farmer?
gosh, I don't remember so many names.
Said Jesse
Jesse Straight.
Straight?
You know Jesse Straight.
I don't know that I've had a conversation with him, but I know who he is.
Yes. He
Yeah,
is
he's
amazing. Most amazing Catholic I've ever met.
I've never heard of him.
You haven't heard of
He's
Jesse
local.
Straight?
No.
He's local
He
here.
has a
Really?
farm out near Warrenton.
Jesse?
Jesse Straight.
And what does he?
He raises
this one, Father
crops,
Leo.
yes.
Well, and beef, chicken,
Chicken and
turkeys
beef
at
and crops.
Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And
wow.
he has a couple of drop-off places that are local where you can order the food. It's all, you know,
This lady.
organic.
Organic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Evelyn Bunawang.
She's
You know,
the one
she
that
has
has.
Filipino Oriental Kitchen in Arlington. She's a local cook. She cooks for the Red Embassy, Filipino Embassy.
My,
And she's very devout. And she did a cooking class for me on Filipino recipes.
that's hard to do. I mean, wow, I think that would be hard.
She's wonderful.
And then there was Father Monsignor James Long.
Oh, yes. But a lot of priests I ran across here.
With that is the cooking. You know, I just I love to cook. I love to be around people, and I love to be surrounded with people of faith. So when I cook, I always cook with a lot of love, and I treasure my cooking with entertaining for people. You know, whether they're coming to my house or I'm doing something for other people that are sick or whatever. But that's my expression of who I am. So
Yeah.
I would like to hear some about Rita, where you learned to cook. Who was the person who introduced you to cooking?
you know what who introduced me to cooking? I remember the gourmet cooking magazines.
Mhm.
They're no longer.
That's
they're
true,
not.
right?
I just used to love cooking magazines. You know, every time, yeah. And I started with the gourmet, and it kind of just started. I remember using it all the time. I lived in Saudi Arabia for almost 28 years.
Oh,
My children were born and raised there, and so in Arabia you don't have a lot of, like here, you don't have stores. At the time that I was there, we didn't have plentiful stores where you could buy anything you needed for cooking. So I guess because we couldn't, I would always want to make recipes knowing that I had to figure out how I'm going to get this to taste like this. And so, and we entertained a lot in the area where we lived, because it was like a compound, like an army compound. We were with Aramco. I don't know if you know who they are, but it's just an American oil company, Saudi American oil company. So, and then we were close to Europe, being in Arabia. So a flight to Italy was, or France, maybe it wasn't that far. Actually, it's not even that far from here. Because I think, what is it, to England, it's what, 7 or 8 hours, and it's probably 5 hours, to go there. So it wasn't really hard to go to a cooking school. So I went to like, I was in Florence for 2 of them, and then I've just been to cooking schools wherever I can get in, in here. But I love Italian cooking, and I recommend going to cooking school, to classes. I went for 2 weeks for one session, and then another one for, I don't know, I think the same. But they're so much fun. You meet so many people of the same mindset, that love to cook. And if they don't, they want to, even if they just want to learn how to make pasta, it's just fun to be around people who enjoy cooking. And so anyway.
But you're a wonderful cook.
Thank you. Everybody has their own thing. I love to cook. A lot of people don't like cooking. And for a good reason. Why would you cook? You can go and buy whatever you want, right? The flat ones are called bizcochitos. It's actually the state cookie in New Mexico, very Mexican. And the other one looks like a Mexican cookie, but it's a Swedish cookie. It has orange peel. Which one did you get? Both of them? Oh, good.
Oh, I got one of each.
Oh, good.
Yes, of course,
Yeah.
maybe 2 of each.
Well, at least one of each.
At least one of each.
That, these bizcochitos, they're called. They say the only way to eat them is when you're cooking, they use lard. And I couldn't do it. I went and I bought the lard, and I said, okay, if this is really the way that I'm gonna make these, if it's really authentic, I'm gonna use lard. But I couldn't, so I just used butter instead, and I think they came out fine.
Delicious.
And I'm happy to give you the recipe for the cookies. Okay.
Really, you're such a good cook.
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you.
The next book will be Catholic cookies.
After.